Hey everyone. So tonight I'm gonna try something a little bit different. I am, because I'm very passionate about masculine and feminine dynamics and relationships. I thought I'd try and do a reading, like pull some cards for the masculine, pull some cards for the feminine, and see how that goes with how maybe I can kind of interpret what current situations are for both the masculine, whether it's within ourselves, the masculine part, the feminine part, it can relate differently to everyone, or it could be in relationships, the masculine, feminine, however you associate yourself with either one. But I got some new cards and I thought I would draw some different ones. There's some animal and there's some archetype cards, and I just thought I'd draw a couple from each for the masculine and feminine and see what comes out for both. The colour the colour for today is that was popping out is orange, which is the sacral, the passion center, and it's kind of I guess always kind of part of my vibe, because I'm a very passionate creative person. It's the point of, it's the creation center type thing, whether it's passion for romance or passion for your creativity, what you do, your work, or your relationships, or yourself, or life. It's I guess it's that fire in your belly, and it's what gets you going. But I guess within that there is the masculine aspect to it and the feminine aspect to it, and it can appear in our lives. It can come out of us in different ways, in masculine ways or in feminine ways. It's all very, whatever's going on for you at the time, you might get something out of each pile or both piles. Really, a lot with me is about the dynamics within a relationship. And so I kind of have the mindset tonight, whoever watches this, I would like the reading to be helpful within the relationship with yourself and the relationships in your life. So that's the energy I'm putting into it. And so we'll see what comes out. And I wanted to start, I guess, I haven't really used these cards yet, so I'll be learning as we go. So I'm going to start with an archetype card, which I'm hoping will kind of give us a glimpse into what each or how each group is kind of currently being energetically represented, or what's going on with them energetically. And then we'll see what happens, see what I'm guided to go with to, I don't know how it plays out, I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of winging this, so we'll see how we go. So these cards are the Archeo cards. Pretty much, similar, I guess, if you've looked into personality types and that type of thing, how we can be kind of represented by how we approach life, how we see life, or where we kind of sit currently in the swing of of life and all that. Anyway, my mind's already going forward. So we'll do masculine and feminine. So I'll start with the masculine archetype. That wants to come out. The green man. It's probably a little bit typical for the feminine that there's about 10 want to come out. But we'll aim for one and do that again. Typical feminine, like, you know, we can, during the day, we can kind of come in and out, varying archetypes. Oh, we got one. It is the observer. Alright, so we'll check those out and have a look. So the masculine green man. The attribute. The green man is a steward to all that grows in the earth, part vegetation himself. He is attached to the roots and arteries that join all living things, yet he roams about the land freely. He's a green shadow on the edge of your peripheral vision, insisting that you respect the earth. If you acknowledge his presence, he'll diminish the sense of isolation that has dogged humankind since we declared ourselves outside and above nature. Persona. He is the green-faced phoenix who dies and is reborn each year, a dimly remembered figure, an ancient spirit of the earth, once revered by many civilizations. He is a jack of the green, the verdant, who sometimes comes as a flashing gleam on a blade of grass, but more often in the wind's mood and the rising sap. His sightings are insubstantial, but his presence is forever felt. You will not see him coming. He moves through the forest, travelling just outside your sight line, but his arrival changes everything for you. The separation you have always felt from the collective whole, that sad sense of quarantine, will pass. When you walk with him amongst the trees, you will know the shades of green. You will breathe in the forest. You'll feel the plants growing around you. The moss, sage, olive, holly, chartreuse, myrtle, viridian, pea and emerald will seep through your skin and fill your lungs, bones and heart. The grasses will slip between your toes, and the snaking vines will curl and climb your calves. Their jade vines threading through your body, carrying the sap that feeds your mouth and nostrils. I can like feel that. Shit. And it's like really powerful, like masculine, pure masculine, grounded earth energy. Yeah, that masculine, like, that makes you feel alive yet, and thrilled yet completely grounded and held, like pure, quiet. It's like contradictory, like it's not simple, but it's like, you know, it's not easy either, but no fuss, home, but that feeling of home that makes you feel so alive and buzzing. Alright, observer. If that makes sense. I don't know. I mean, as a woman, I've felt that. I have felt that with a man. So maybe the women out there would understand if they've been around a man like that. Alright, the observer. The observer attentively examines the smallest details of those around and through quiet diagnostic watchfulness is able to understand their behaviour, their motives and their agendas. Follow his eyes and you will see who is good-hearted and who cannot be trusted. Listen to his observations and learn the art of reading the human condition. Persona. He's an inquisitive watcher wishing to comprehend the way others think and act. When encountering a stranger, he begins with pathology, looking carefully at the way a person holds their body. Are their shoulders up or down? Do they stick their chin out pugnaciously or do they let it hang slack? Are their eyes still or sliding? The observer watches without judgment. He mimics them, arranging his body to fit theirs. Once he has become them, he asks, what is my attitude towards the world? He watches the way they carry themselves, how they sit and stand. He takes note of the small details in their appearance and that are they slovenly or squeaky clean? Do they seek admiration or proclaim rebellion? Are their fingernails chewed in anxiety? Do they fret with their hair? Are they masked in makeup or naked-faced and openly exposed? Are their shoes polished or scuffed? Do they frown or smile around the eyes? He looks for signs of mood swing and temperature change. Do they tend to be the first or last to speak? Do they sense when to stop talking or are they inclined to blather? The observer sets aside his prejudices, including his assumptions, fears, attractions and repulsions. He understands that misuse of his powers of perception will backfire and cause self-damage. I mean, I can relate to that one myself. Interesting. So whether that relates to masculine, feminine, and we'll draw some other cards and see how that plays out. So this one here is Tarot the Light. So we'll get one for the masculine. So far we've got both really quite very grounded energies, but maybe the masculine being more heart-based and the feminine seemingly more mental, which is a bit of a kind of a switch to what, you know, classically we would, you know, say, like masculine is normally more mind-based and feminine is normally more heart-based, and we've got kind of the opposite going on here, but both in probably, you know, like a open, like a pureness to it, like a pure mind for the feminine, like no judgment, it's just taking it in, like absorbing and processing. And the masculine is, I guess, the essence of the heart. It is there, it is always there, it is grounded. Yeah, so like at the moment it's kind of absolute, kind of the perfect balance of the mind and heart, really. Alright, so with the masculine side we've got the Queen of Hearts, Sixth Sense. And feminine. Two of Trees, flexibility, and Queen of Stars, illuminator. Oh, another one's popped out, so I'll give that to the masculine. The ego, collapse. So with the masculine, the ego, collapse. Anything built on fear is collapsing, so you can rebuild on new, strong foundations. You have outgrown the building blocks of your past. The ego is an important tool in the process of creation. It's separated off from the rest of you so you could gain a different perspective, also called your personality. The ego is not who you are, but how you observe and react to the outside world. We draw conclusions and build belief systems based on the ego's observations. These convictions are stored in our psyche and filter our interpretation of the future. This image shows a sudden shattering of fearful beliefs set in place by the ego's conclusions. If we build a life on fear, it will have to crumble away in order for us to see the path of love. So that's the classic like tower moment where, you know, like everything does have to fall apart in order for you to rebuild. The meaning of the card, the ego shakes you out of your slumber of illusion and denial to liberate your soul. You have or are about to experience an abrupt awakening. It is time to breathe life into your dreams. What you built in the past is being systematically dismantled so you can choose a path more aligned with the present you. You have not done anything wrong. You are not being punished. Contrary to what people may say, you could not have known what would happen. You have grown and the old is no longer needed. This is a turning point in your life. So I've just had the realization that the initial archetype kind of cards for the masculine and feminine is like what both are working towards, like what we're both healing or needing to assimilate into us. Like I was saying, it seems to be opposite to what the classic kind of example of a masculine and feminine are. And so it's almost like this is what the masculine need to embody, like work towards. This is what they're heading towards in their healing, which is that heart-based, earthy, heart-centered green man energy, you know, from all about the head logic to pure masculine earth energy of the heart, which is the green man energy archetype. And with the feminine as the observer, you know, without like non-judgmental, logical thinking, mind-based thinking, non-reactive, just observing and understanding, you know, without reacting. And that is what the feminine needs to work towards and like assimilate into their being to become a balanced individual. From, you know, that's you know, the observer is like the healed mind, the healed masculine mind, and you know, for feminine to become balanced in heart and mind, they need to incorporate that observer, that just the beautiful understanding the reality of the situation without attachment, without judgment, without, you know, reaction, comparison, you know, like all that, without any emotional reaction. It is a logical understanding of the situation and like an interpretation from knowledge and experience and wisdom, and joining that with the heart-based understanding to interact with that world. And that is what the feminine is working towards in the feminine healing. Yeah, so that kind of just like gelled just then. So the other one, the Queen of Hearts with the masculine, that's that one down. The Sixth Sense. I'm guessing that's intuition, right? Bringing wisdom and instinct together creates intuition. Trust what you feel, for you know yourself best. A beautiful goddess floats through a magical landscape of empowering gold that is streaked with intuition. A steady stream of pink hearts flow to her. She knows this is unconditional love, for she is love. Her green robe wraps and soothes her in healing and quiet acceptance. She sees peace, compassion, and love everywhere she looks. Close your eyes and feel a stream of pink hearts flowing from her heart to yours. A tingling sensation ripples through your body. Open your eyes and see love all around you. The Queen of Hearts opens you to discovery. There are new qualities, layers of love, and fresh wisdom within yourself or another. Be ready to find and experience love in every moment by nurturing yourself. Be the mother to yourself that you have always craved. Be your foundation. Be your strength. Be open to journeying beyond what you have known and can see with your eyes. Let the lines blur beyond your current horizon. This card signifies someone who has the ability to sense energy, extraordinary insight into the conduct and motivations of themselves and others makes someone a natural counselor. Yeah, so yeah, again, it is kind of like the masculine getting in touch with, you know, I guess through the heart and releasing the ego or healing, you know, that ego collapse, and, you know, beginning to open the heart and feel the heart and the power of how he can heal himself. The masculine can heal himself, and, you know, the mind and the heart combined can rationally, logically connect intuition, feelings, you know, the deeper him with his outside world. Like he can start to go deeper and let that out, and then take in how it works between his inner instinct and heart, how he interacts with his world from that pureness, and how that creates magic and the power of that, and the power he holds, how that power, how his world responds to that, how he is able to assist in others' healings just by just by being himself, the impact his heart, mind, healed power holds, and how each time, you know, he connects with that, that it ramps up a notch. Like each time his awareness realizes the power of him, his core, like from his core, his trueness, that it's literally like, yeah, the powers, the power like multiplies. And yet, like the magic of that, like the magic of that, the empowerment that that holds to catalyze such a quick, fast, powerful personal healing and rapid change to his world, that is nothing less than like miraculous. Yeah, like that is the power of where the masculine seeing itself with love, connecting to itself from the heart, like extremely powerful. Alright, so with the feminine we've got the Queen of Stars and the Two of Trees. So we'll do the Queen of Stars first. The Illuminator. Your inner creator shines outward, leading you from darkness. You will feel her joy through your senses, thoughts, actions, and all that is reflected to you. A beautiful goddess contemplates her ability to create a life of joy regardless of whether she faces golden positives or shadowy negatives. She unifies her heart and mind with the light of optimism to guide her actions with love and intuitive wisdom. Her eyes are closed as she welcomes streams of illuminating creativity to flow into her heart. A tingling sensation ripples through her as all blocks to her ingenuity dissolve into love. The meaning. The Queen of Stars awakens you to your beauty and strength. You have compromised yourself because you didn't know you could be loved for being you. This practiced belief now makes you doubt your abilities and potential. However, somewhere deep inside, the need to be the true you is gaining momentum and is about to bring an inspiring, supportive person or idea into your life. It may arrive as a boss, workmate, friend, lover, or a new way of perceiving your life. Open your heart to the inspiring creator you are. So with that one, I see it as literally the feminine embracing, like healing her masculine. So it's like when the feminine heals her masculine and they, you know, become a balanced individual, is like it is like she's given herself a safe place within herself to be her, rather than needing any external source like a relationship or environment to provide that security for her to feel empowered enough to be her. She's, you know, that is what the masculine does for the feminine, and a feminine, by healing and embracing her inner masculine, you can do that for yourself. That is what your inner masculine does for you. It provides, like, I mean, I've experienced it. It is a beautiful freaking joining of forces within yourself, and it is suddenly, if you haven't had that previously, like I can only go off my experiences, that it is like suddenly you've got, you know, your partner in crime is within you, and wherever you go, you've literally got this warrior man within you, constantly providing this like security and strength, like ready to slay anyone. Like this masculine energy is within you, like just holding space for you, your feminine, in order for you to go about your empowered feminine journey, while still being fully in your, you know, in your feminine, or whatever, you know, balance of energies is naturally yours. It's a beautiful thing. It is a really beautiful thing that we can actually, you know, get to the point that we can give that to ourselves. And I think it is absolutely needed. And, you know, exactly, it matches the masculine, what the masculine is doing in the opposite way. You know, they're adding that beautiful heart-based, intuitive, feminine vibe to their, you know, to their masculine groundedness, and, you know, we're providing this, you know, the feminine has got, you know, linking up with that strength and power within herself to embody her feminine. Right, so we'll go, next one is the Two of Trees. So we've got obviously like the Ivra, the Ankh, and the Sun. We've got two hearts, two trees entwined. Alright, we'll check that out. Flexibility. Adapt and adjust your energy to balance the situation. The solution journeys with a problem. If you just see the problem, you can't see the solution. Two trees embrace, showing how flexible they are. Their roots snake through a patchwork of past experiences that have been crystallized into one strong foundation. The hearts gently pump warmth from above down into the earth in a steady, harmonious way. To remain in balance, the trees need the masculine sun rays of expansion, as well as the feminine compassion that flows in rivers from the all-knowing eye. The Ankh represents the cycles of death, birth and rebirth. These trees are ready for anything. In fact, they will adjust and adapt to whatever life brings in order to grow. Meaning the Two of Trees impedes on a financial or business affair. A situation is not going to plan, but a solution is on the way. Trying too hard to bring about a resolution will only delay or prevent the desired outcome. Let it be. The chips will fall where they may, and a new path will be revealed. In taking on too much, you lose sight of the trees for the forest. Prioritize tasks, whether they be work, family, or hobby related. This card also asks you to care about your physical body. Balance your inner and physical self with meditative movement, walking contemplation, and inspired action will follow. Yeah, so I think that's like the surrender, like a lot about almost, you know, on the other hand of this feeling of being held and empowered, you know, that inner strength, like the other side of that, or the, I don't want to say negative, but the unbalanced side to that would be trying to make everything happen, like controlling, and a lot of feminines get stuck in this because we are very observant creatures. we do see like broad span. We see and notice, like we're aware of a lot of what's going on. Pretty much like, you know, we have eyes in the back of our head, and we have, you know, this intuition is like switched on from birth. Like we don't have to work on that really, like it's kind of there. So we kind of know things, we see things, like that's kind of all easy. The hard thing for the women is to balance that energy without being attached to it, without trying to control it, without judging it, without yeah, you know what I mean, like so I would say that what's these three cards are kind of saying is that, you know, like surrendering, acceptance, non-judgmental awareness, and feeling secure enough within yourself to give you the self-safety, to give yourself the safety enough that, you know what I mean, like what I was talking about, like that empowerment of self-held. You know who you are, you're solid, you know, like you've got a big strong man holding you wherever you go, and you're giving that to yourself. So you can relax into your reality, you can surrender to your reality because you feel so sure with where you are. You may, you know, want certain things, desire certain things, and you are doing things to get those, but you are also surrendering to the beauty of your reality and what's around you. You're not doggedly only, you know, latching on to one thing, and, you know, because you know you don't need to, because then, you know, by doing that you're taking away, you know, the experience of it all. And by being empowered and holding yourself in that balanced energy of you know, that security, you aren't in need, you're not like desperate for anything, you are at peace enough to surrender to the flows and the goings on. Like you are a part of your reality, not trying to control your reality. And I think the masculine side is realizing that they don't control their reality, but that doesn't take away from the power they hold, because when they realize that, yeah, they may not control their reality, and they can't, that doesn't make them weak. Surrendering, but also realizing the power of that surrender, when you've surrendered and in your full earth heart grounded state as the masculine, without any need to control, because the need to control shows a lack, which is a weakness. So, you know, the balanced masculine realizes that the real power he holds is him being at peace with himself, you know, very similar, completely mirrored, but in slightly different ways. Because like as soon as the masculine, you know, releases that the ego needing to appear to be strong and in control, and he gets in touch with the heart and the intuition, like that's when the true power and literally things like fall at his feet, like like it's almost like ironic, you know. You'd think to get a certain thing, like we've been kind of taught to get a certain thing, you've got to be a certain way or whatever, you try so hard for whatever, and then like when you go through this awakening, you realize that it's actually the opposite. As soon as you step away and actually pull all your energies back into yourself, like that is when your power ignites, and that is when things just come to you, you know, that you want. And yeah, maybe it doesn't look like what you've been chasing your whole life. Maybe it looks completely different. But when you actually get to that point and you start receiving these things, it's exactly you. It's exactly what you never knew that you wanted, but is perfect. And it can completely change your life. But it's fucking amazing and perfect. And you're at this place where you've just become like born again. And this is what the awakening is. And it is magic. Yeah. Alright, so that's kind of like what we're healing. What's next? This one is the Gaia Hearts on Fire Oracle. So yeah, we'll go with you know, what's about to happen. I know we'll go. I'm just getting tips, hints. We'll go with like what are the current thoughts, like what's at the top of the masculine's mind, like yeah, current priorities, current angle of attack. Current vibes of the masculine. Yeah, we've got achievement, keep focused on your dream. The lotus, perfect symbolism for awakening. And the search, feeling lost, confused, lonely. Achievement and the search. I mean, it is quite confronting, lonely, confusing time, that awakening process where your life just gets kind of flipped upside, but at the same time you feel like amazingly healed and a new version of yourself. But you know, like a snake that's completely just shed its skin, and now you're literally exposed to the desert like environs or whatever. Like you feel amazingly refreshed and like beautiful and new, like better really unsure of your, like, what the fuck is going on or what is about to happen, because it's all so new. And for the feminine, current vibes. Goddess of creation, transformation, creativity, wholeness. I think she's feeling good. She's feeling good. And on the bottom we've got moonlight, travel, romance, potential. Gorgeous. I don't know where these, I've been wanting to get these cards for ages. There's the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Guidebook. Oh, the Animal Spirit deck. They're such beautiful cards, these ones. So, yeah, we'll see what comes out for the masculine. It's a bit too many. Alright, we got the snake and the buffalo. The buffalo, like, immediately reminds me of the white buffalo woman, which is absolutely like that story. If you have looked into it, like you know, she was sent to like heal the masculine's like opinion and idea of the feminine, like that, like she was, you know, a tool. Well, in the story it was like judge, jury and executioner type thing of the masculine, and she became a teacher, you know, like of creating that balance between the masculine and feminine, healing the toxicity. So that, I mean, that matches, and the snake with the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail, and Metatron's cube, or the flower of life type. I mean, that's pure awakening, and you're, you know, Kundalini rising, your snake, you've completed the cycle, you have awakened, you've healed yourself, you've joined your bits. You know, the positive, negative, the you know, electric, magnetic, the you've interlinked. Healing the masculine, feminine side of yourself. You know, get in touch with your heart, that kind of thing. And the butterfly. Blinded by the light. I just cut that song. But like the butterflies, like flying into the bright light. Alright, we got another one, or is that it? Just the butterfly? Eagle. The eagle has landed. A wolf and mouse. I don't know who those for, but we'll find out. Alright, butterfly and eagle. Well, butterfly if you've got your wings, you've got your wings. And if you're seeing as the eagle sees, you're at a good height. Look. No numbers on these, but look for it. Undergoing great change and transformation. The energy of the butterfly is with us during periods of transition. Since air is the element of the heart, this change usually involves relationships, or if you love your job, perhaps your career. Since transition is accompanied by some amount of discomfort, be extra patient and kind during this time, especially if the butterfly is you. Let solid friends and activities support you like a cocoon. Committing to one daily routine, a meal, practice or prayer, done at the same place and time will do wonders for lifting a butterfly's spirit. When in balance, cheerful, graceful. When out of balance, fragile, frustrated. To bring into balance, daily routine. I can relate to that, like the in and out of balance thing, and knowing, you know, getting to a point of knowing what you need at the time to get yourself back in balance before you kind of spiral, like very, you know, being aware enough and knowing enough, and through trial and error, knowing what you need at any one time to quickly pull yourself back into the beautiful butterfly zone. Eagle, all-pervading power, true seeker, transforms karma. The noble eagle emanates the light of the sun. This great bird is both physically and spiritually strong and represents mastery over the elements of fire and air. When the eagle appears, you'll soon be thrown into the karmic fire for the sake of your transformation. The eagle pushes us to be our best and brightest selves and stops at nothing to see us shine. Grasp the sun in your talons and hold on for the ride. You are stronger than you think, eagle child. When in balance, bright, radiant, challenges. When out of balance, controlling. To bring into balance, step into the unknown. That's a nice way to look at it, actually, because, you know, like how it's talking about surrendering rather than controlling. Stepping into the unknown is more of an action orientated, you know, masculine version of that kind of statement, like surrendering to what the universe or, you know, your world will bring you is more of the feminine understanding of that kind of situation, like to bring you back into balance. But like the masculine kind of version is stepping into the unknown without, you know, controlling what the outcome will be. This is kind of an interesting way to look at the, you know, the two ways you could look at it, like whatever works for you. Because sometimes, you know, the idea of surrendering and just not doing anything completely frustrates the shit out of me. And it is just the mindset behind the idea of what bringing you back into balance, like allowing your world to be what it is while you just do you, you know, without trying so hard, you know, to make something particular, you know, happen. Just doing you. But like, you know, sometimes if you're a little out of balance, you know, just the idea of not knowing or not doing, feeling like you're not doing something, but just that wording, stepping into the unknown, rather surrendering to the unknown. It is more empowering, I think, just the kind of the wording surrounding it. And like, I mean, that in itself is like so much. It's just a mindset. It is just words. It is just how you approach it in your mind, how you consider what your reality is, or what. I mean, so much of it is wording. What we say in our, like the mind speak that we give ourselves, can have such a powerful emotional response on how we deal with it. Stepping into the unknown, or surrendering to what life hands you, or whatever, like there's, you know, depending on who you are as an individual and where you're at and how you just generally approach things, you'll have a different response for different kind of, you know, words, or, you know how you could read like 20 different spiritual kind of life coach type how to approach things, like to be a balanced individual, how each one of them can say it in a different way, but it's all saying the same thing, you know, type thing, but you'll resonate with one particular way of looking at, it'll work for you better for whatever reason. And this is why, you know, one way doesn't work for everyone. You just have to find your little niche of words and vibe that calms and inspires your vibe in order to balance you when you need help to be balanced. You know, until you can provide that for yourself or whatever, like getting all these different techniques that all these different coaches, inspirers, guides provide that worked for them. Like, go through them until you kind of find the vibe that you resonate with, that like, that kind of works for me. Fuck. And maybe their step 1 worked, maybe their step 3 worked, maybe their step 5 worked. Just because this person's step 1 worked doesn't mean that step 2 to 10 would work for you. And this is the thing, and this is why we all share what worked for us. And it doesn't mean that it will work like it worked for me the whole way, like for anyone else, but one part of my journey might completely resonate with people's step 2 or 4 or 5. You know, this is how it all works. You've got to look at the entire kind of like, you know, you got to find your own vibe to, you know, and it changes, and you've got to accept that it changes and go with the flow and just keep following that magnet until you've worked out, you know, like how it works for you. And then when you've reached there, and then you've got a completely unique story to share with everyone to help people on step 10 to 1 the way it worked for you. And you know, we all just keep sharing all these steps that worked for us, because we all know how important it is to share and get inspiration from others, because it's not like it's a fucking easy journey, and everyone is unique. So the more inspiration, the more advice, the more options that we have, and understandings that it is not a one size fits all situation. It is about each of us finding our own unique path and opening our minds and hearts fully and not trying to be anyone but ourselves. I mean, that's the most important thing, biggest step of the journey. Alright, so back to the masculine buffalo and snake. I wish I had not this. Snake. Guardian of unawakened magic and creative potential. The snake is a symbol of our highest potential. It is said that Shakti, our creative life force, lies dormant at the base of our spine in the form of a coiled snake. Regardless of whether this image rings true for you, it's well worth considering the amount of unawakened or untapped potential within. What would life look like if you woke it up? How can you stir it from slumber? An experienced yoga or meditation teacher can lead the way. Make haste. The snake card appears when there is no more time to waste. When in balance, prosperous, creative, charismatic. When out of balance, starts and stops many things. To bring into balance, Kundalini yoga, meditation. I feel more like success with this, like it has been activated, like for whoever. Yeah, it's just like the colors with that, I just feel like I don't feel like there's any doubt there, so well done. But we'll read about the buffalo. Grounded yet heavenly, practical yet spiritual. That sounds a lot like the first card, the green man. Yeah. The hooves of the mighty buffalo are grounded in the earth, yet its heart and mind rise toward the heaven. The buffalo sees challenge, hardship, or a bump in the road as an opportunity for upliftment. Therefore, the buffalo does not fear death, illness, or misfortune. Its gentle eyes look to the road ahead, trusting every turn. May we all experience this elusive yet life-changing bliss from time to time, and may we allow this card to remind us that life is a precious gift. When in balance, trusting pure presence. When out of balance, restless, lacks gratitude. To bring into balance, prayer, Shakti. Bhakti? I can't read that very well. Bhakti. Bhakti. I'm not sure what that is. But anyway, yeah, that's very much like the green man. Like a healthy, healed, in touch, heart-based masculine. And it reminds me of that story, like with the lightning and everything. It reminds me of that story where the buffalo run into the storm because they know that they can have the strength and safety, like, and wisdom. They know they can handle the storm. They're not afraid of it, and they know if they run into it, hitting that head first, it'll be over quicker. Type thing. So they approach life, without fear, wisdom, strength, heart-based way. A problem is presented. They don't back down, you know, they run into it. It's an opportunity to get where they want to go quicker. You know, is it that, you know, that type of thing, like, you know what I mean. Alright, so the wolf and the mouse came up as well, but we'll see what they are. They might relate to everyone. Maybe it's what is wolf masculine? Guardian of family and tribe, activism, ritual. The wolf's mission is to uphold the well-being and longevity of the pack. Healthy wolf energy expresses itself through activism, mentorship, humanitarian efforts, or teaching, religious or political studies. The wolf gets into trouble when it assumes every member of the tribe must follow suit. This includes children walking in their parents' footsteps. Although it will surely be uncomfortable at first, practicing tolerance helps balance our agitated wolf energy. Contemplate the following: embrace all, exclude none. When in balance, reliable, democratic, fearless. When out of balance, judgmental, dominating. Practice letting go. That sounds kind of like what the feminine is healing at the moment. Allowing everyone to be who they are. Healthy wolf energy expresses itself through activism, mental teaching, without trying to control anyone to do anything. Embrace all, exclude none. And the mouse. Detail oriented, small-minded, nitpicky, nervous. The mouse has an innate desire to tend to the details. It often spends its days fixing, preparing, organising and scrutinising. Unfortunately, a mouse personality doesn't notice when they've gone too far. Soon they begin to have a limited and fearful vision of life and try to control every detail. This can be quite a painful experience for both the mouse and those around them. When mouse energy is at play, step back for a moment. It may be time to find a more purposeful project to delve into, one that's worthy of your exacting eye. When in balance, organised, resourceful, prepared. When out of balance, busy with no purpose. To bring into balance a meaningful project. Yeah, I'm not sure about the mouse. But maybe it's more of a blended energy there, or maybe it's a reminder to us all, you know, we can have these really big awakening energies going on and everything, but sometimes, you know, the most important times are just day to day, pulling ourselves back into balance, being aware from day to day what we need. And you know, both these cards are about trying to control, one probably through too much action, and one from not enough action, or the wrong type of action. Maybe with So I guess the mouse is more like acting on the wrong things, or the non-priorities, like avoiding the actions that would really move you. There is more the actions that you know, you keep overdoing those little ones in your own little space to try and make yourself feel better, but there's only so long you can do that. Because you keep doing that, then those nitpicking, the way it has to be has to escalate if what you're doing doesn't escalate. Like, there's no growth in your action if you're only acting on the same things, and there's no growth. There has to be growth somewhere, so then there'll be growth in the way you feel about it. Then you become like, I'm getting like the OCD, you know, overly critical about those actions, because there's got to be growth somewhere, right? There's got to be change somewhere. Like, that is the energy inside you because you're awakening. But, you know, all that energy can't stay in that small space. You have to at some point open the door and take those actions out. You know, type thing. And I think with the wolf is more along the lines like we were talking about with the feminine is, yeah, I mean, you may be, you know, empowered and feeling the strength and sharing that and acting, but you know, if that empowered action and sharing and giving becomes unbalanced and is critically judging or critically trying to control the outcome of your actions and sharing and giving, then that becomes an unbalanced thing. And you know, there's so many dynamics, and this is why it's so important to be self-aware and have your self-monitoring routines in order to kind of check back in with yourself to see what your energy is doing and how you're approaching things, how you're feeling about things. You know, have you got expectations of yourself, of others? Do you feel like, you know, your electric and magnetic, your giving and receiving are kind of balanced, you know, within yourself? You know, masculine doing, feminine being, you know, within ourselves or whatever. I think, you know, it's just a reminder on both sides. You know, it comes out in different ways for both masculine and feminine, and within yourself, the masculine and feminine, you know, dynamics. Like, but you know, the importance of checking in with how, you know, balanced you do feel within yourself, and you know, that grounding and watcher vibe, the observer and the grounder, the green man and the observer energies. And you know, if you combine them, you know, innocent observer with the grounding, beautiful earth energy, that's surrendered groundedness, empoweredness, you know, like checking out your situation, being solid in yourself, and you know, without judging yourself, your surroundings. It's just being and soaking it all in from mind and heart, you know, a balanced mind and heart place. Yes. Alright, so we've been going for a while, so I'll wrap it up. How should we wrap it up? Alright, well, this one is the Seeker Oracle. So we'll get a few for the masculine and a few for the feminine, and then we'll close it up. So what's about to happen? Immediate future for the masculine. What vibe is coming next for the masculine? Or advice on what's coming next? For the masculine. Hush, listen. A king bee. Time to rise. Be neutral. The key to wisdom. Connection is necessary. Leap of fortune. Cute little frogs. Be a curious creature. Flying monkeys. And for the feminine, I keep like the Archeo cards that keep popping out at me again. Alright, for the feminine, it is time. Grow together. And tell a story. A little birdie told me. A queen bee. So we got a king bee and the queen bee coming out. Knowledge is power, and have faith. Alright, this one my eyes keep getting drawn to this, so I'm just going to do one more for each. We got the Sage and Strategist. Contemplating his chess move, the Strategist. The Strategist tail. Marcel's long fingers delicately gripped the white knight. He lifted the piece vertically and lowered it crane-like onto the square between Rene's rooks. Rene could tell that Marcel, now a thin chartreuse praying mantis, was setting a trap. This was far from the first time the renowned surrealist had locked horns. They had been trying to outthink each other for years, each honing complicated strategies of move and counter. To the outsider, these games may have seemed absurd, but to Duchamp and Marguerite, there was no better way to prepare for the unexpected than to push the edges of reality. Step into the unknown. Because why not? And then we've got the Sage. The Sage sits quietly by your side, reminding you to stay centered. His wisdom has come down through the ages, and his counsel is balanced and reliable. He has no material agenda, and unlike those priests who cloak themselves in worldly wealth, he requires no supplication, nor does he demand an adherence to a tablet of commandments. He sees no reason to regret or blame. Human kindness needs no stick or carrot. It simply requires us to understand that we are bound together in a single unity. He is Solomon and Siddhartha, imploring us to ground ourselves and listen to our core's steady pulse. He is the soul of intelligence and insight, teaching us to trust our deeper intuitive senses and make right choices based on grounded consciousness. He reminds us that it is okay to pause when faced with a choice. When you do not have enough information to act, that not knowing is a place of poise that shows maturity, not weakness. Wisdom is hard fought for, and the Sage did not come to his elevated awareness by accident. His path was long and lonely, and his journey required great discipline, but in time it gifted him the powers of great compassion and empathy. He needs little and lives in meditative simplicity. Yeah, it's like the green man energy again. The sage man, the green man. The emerald tablet man. The night moves. You know, it's just like, do you sit there forever or do you make your move? I know what I would do.